Leicester City take on Liverpool live on talkSPORT on Monday night as they continue to fight to stay in the Premier League. Now, Darren Bent sat down with Jamie Vardy ahead of the game with the former England striker highlighting the importance of their survival.
When I think of Leicester City, I think of you. This is your club. I mean, how much would it mean to you to get Leicester out of this situation when you've got 3 games, 3 cup finals basically, to save your season? I mean, what would it mean to you?
I think at this moment in time it would be the biggest achievement.
Bigger than the league, bigger than the FA Cup?
Yeah.
Wow. That is some achievement, to be fair, because I would have said the FA Cup, obviously the league title was special, but you think that staying in the division this year with the 3 games you got left would be your biggest achievement?
Yeah, that's how important it is.
Okay, Darren did most of the talking there. You can watch Darren's full interview with Jamie Vardy on Drive at 5:30 today. So he's saying, no, that would eclipse a lot, Danny. If Vardy and Leicester stay up, that would be the ultimate.
Yeah, well, he's in the moment. He's feeling it. He's in the moment. He's emotion. When you're talking about something that's happening right now, you tend to enormatise it in your own head and world, don't you? In 5-10 years' time, the biggest thing in Leicester's history will be the winning the league, no doubt. He'll be remembered for his contribution at that wonderful time for Leicester. They could go down and bounce back in another year and everything's forgotten. So, no, I understand the importance of it in his head right now, but it's not bigger than winning the league.
What do you make of where they're at, Danny? I mean, this capitulation against Fulham. The supporters who made the trip, and it's a long way from Leicester to London, they wanted to see more, they didn't see anything. You've embarrassed the shirt, etc. Are they right? The fans right to give them it?
It was poor, but I think, they're in this position because of their overall season, not because of one game. The fact is that if they go down, that group of players will have some serious thinking to do and some self-analysis, because the group really is better than the position, definitely. I know that doesn't mean you stay up, but that it was avoidable staying up by being a bit more pragmatic and playing a bit more sensibly at times this season. They've been very open. A lot of their games have been like basketball games, end to end, silly moments to give away goals and lots of individual mistakes. Now you could argue about recruitment. We could go through Brendan's time this season, some of the things he shouldn't have said or shouldn't have done, or whether the owner should have got rid of him or whatever it may be. But the fact is, the group that has been there, the group of players, although not as strong as recent seasons, is still more than capable of staying in this league. So there has to be some self-analysis and self-blame. Not,
in other words, a clean-out.
Well, I don't know what they're going to do in the summer and how many players they've got running out of contracts and stuff, but I would imagine there'll have to be a little an exodus of players, I think, because some of those players are too good to play in the Championship. I know you can laugh at that, but it is true. Even though you find it's a contradiction because you go down, but some of them are. Tielemans is not a Championship player. Maddison is not. Not a Championship player.
But how does this happen? Only in football, we've messed up.
I remember West Ham having,
and then we're getting relegated. But the star players can get out of there because they will find pastures new. I'm all right, Jack.
Yeah, that's football.
Well, it is.
Well, it depends on the economics of the club, doesn't it? If you can stand this, when we went down, Andy Johnson wanted to leave, but he didn't get to leave because he was part of a team that got relegated. It depends what the economics of the football club.
Yeah, but if he had more about me to let, if he wanted to leave, he could have gone out.
Well, he couldn't because I wouldn't have let him.
You'd have kept him there, sat on the bench all season.
He wouldn't. He would have had his mind concentrated about the reality of the relationship. And you know my relationship with Andy Johnson, so it's a different perspective. But he wanted to leave. His ghastly revolting agent tried to get a mandate to get him out the door, and he didn't get it.
Do you think you can do that now, though, Simon? Are players not more powerful now?
They are and they're not.
Depends who you are.
They are and they're not.
He wouldn't have done that with Craig
none of these
Bellamy.
players will spend this idea that Danny's got this little sort of faraway land where they're going to sit there and contemplate this season. So they're not going to contemplate. The only thing they're going to contemplate is how quickly they can get out of the bleeding door, right, and go off somewhere else.
Some players won't have other options.
Well,
they'll have to have some self-analysis.
Well, they may well do, but we're
season.
talking about the main ones that could have contributed a difference, because the bulk of the opportunities, because you made this case, we had to listen to it, about how Leicester will be all right when Maddison's back in the team. Well, that particular one has fallen foul of that.
I don't think I was on my own with that view.
No, but I'm not talking about it.
And I'm sure you would have sat here and probably said the same.
But he was right.
I didn't.
Okay,
actually.
well done.
I sat there with you and listened to you tell us it. So it doesn't matter what everyone else says. You're the one that's in the room. Someone else is in the room.
Well, they're not down yet.
They're gone.
Ooh.
They're gone, Leicester.
Clip that up.
And Vardy, you have to ask yourself, why Vardy? Maybe this will affect Vardy more because he hasn't been getting off the bench very often, getting his playing sub bonuses. I don't know. But the bottom line is that Vardy has gone from being the golden boy of Brendan Rodgers. He, it was like you and Mason Mount and James Maddison, you adopted him at birth, and Brendan Rodgers almost adopted Jamie Vardy. And so all of a sudden he's out of favour. And when you see him playing the other day, he looked as sharp can be. Not match fit towards the end because he ran out of gas. But you look at Leicester and say, that group of players have been, it is a silly analysis. To win the Premier League, getting relegated, you bounce back. Right? Winning the Premier League, you'll never get an opportunity to do it again in Leicester City. So that is the most remarkable achievement.
It's got to be. I was thinking that. It's got to be.
That's just in the moment jingoistic tribe. The bottom line is those players have not done what they should have done. And Maddison's been quite forthright about, well, don't you journalists write about what you even write about the wrong game? Then he comes out with a load of old rubbish. Yes, the other day about, I've had one word taken out of context about hunger. We didn't win our duels and we didn't win our battles. Well, that's the very definition of hunger. If you don't win your duels and you don't win your battles, then you haven't got the prerequisite. That's the one thing you can provide. Yeah. Talent, ability and luck, you can't necessarily legislate for.
But if you were at the top of the house at Leicester, Simon, and the likes of Tillemans or Maddison, their agents are onto you.
Yeah.
And I know your love for agents. And they're saying, and my guy's out here, we've got a verbal deal with whoever.
Yeah.
You'd be like, no, he's going to stay here and I'm going to concentrate his mind. Can you do that now?
Depends on the player. Well, he can go if it suits me. And the only way it will suit me is if I get precisely everything I want. And that means every last single rotten, grubby penny off the table in my pocket and not his and yours. So with that in mind, if you want to suggest a player can go, of course the flip side is you can be too brave and you can create disharmony. But if you've got the right attitude in the club in the first place, which is people understand their responsibilities, there's a more of a tacit. The reason why Andy Johnson didn't push back, because he bloody well wanted to, was because the nature of the relationship he had with me and the way that I ran the football club in the first place.
And
he's
a good person.
But it was all set in stone.
You had a relationship of give and take. He gave and you took.
No, it was the other way around. If we got relegated from the team,
makes a change.
Well, that's not true. The point is that in exchange for him staying, he got a new contract and a reward and an opportunity for the club to protect itself. So it was a give and take situation.
But where else was he going to go? Did Andy Johnson have a lot of Premier League suitors? Right.
Everton. Bill Kenwright was trying to break my arm off.
We ended up going to Everton.
Yeah. In the end, for more money as a result of being in the Championship. There's the irony of football. Comes out of the Premier League, top scorer in the Premier League as an Englishman, 21 goals, gets relegated with the side, get offered £6 million, gets in the Championship, has a stinky season, barely plays because he got injured. There's the irony of football. And I get £9 million for him. That's just the nature of football. But the point is that these players are... Brendan Rodgers is culpable. He was culpable from the moment he opened his trap after that Nottingham Forest FA Cup loss when they were the defenders when they were the holders of the cup. He did nothing to change the course of the events.
He got out at the right time though, didn't he?
Well, good luck for him. But the bottom line is this is on Brendan. This group of players and this outcome is on Brendan.
No, it's partly, not solely.
He's the manager. Managers either manage or they don't. Why are we shouting for managers to be out the door then? Why are we constantly blaming and attributing every solution and every...
You can't blame him for the lack of finances to work in the transfer market. Okay. When you lose your goalkeeper, you lose Fofana.
No, he didn't lose his goalkeeper. They wanted Schmeichel out the door.
All right, well, he's gone, but they didn't have a replacement. Right. Fofana's gone. They don't replace him properly initially. It's only as the season started, they got a centre-half.
Fine.
You know, they've had Chilwell
You've
left.
You've got to work with what you've got to work with, right? So the bottom line is...
Yeah, well, you
just made the argument. You just made the argument. Now you're contradicting it for the purposes one. There's enough on that pitch to have kept him out of relegation. The reasons why there wasn't is because the manager didn't get it from them. The manager didn't get these players to understand what they needed to do to be able to overcome the adversity. And then he sailed off into the sunset after suggesting for some period of time and looking at like he was after behaving like a diplomat. We've got the Henry Kissinger of bleeding football management coming out to every single interview saying precisely bugger all. So if he's saying bugger all to the media, you can, what in God's name is he saying? What's he saying to the players? Because they're not getting the responsibility either. So I think, as much as I like Brendan, I've always liked Brendan.
Oh, he likes you as well.
But I do like Brendan. But let's have it right. Let's call it for what it is. Let's not dress it up because people are afraid of not getting an interview with Brendan next time round. The fact of the matter is...
Well, Brendan might have wanted it from these players, Simon, but they didn't give it.
Hold on, I'm not suggesting...
That's the difference between a manager that can and a manager that can't.
I'm not suggesting he's completely...
He's complicit. His fingerprints are all over it.
But he's part of the problem at Leicester, not the only problem, which is what you're trying to make out.
But he's the solution.
The group of players...
If he's not the solution, he's the problem.
Yeah, but you can think you're the solution and then realise you haven't quite got the tools you think you need, whatever it is. But he's not the only reason.
But you just made an argument a minute ago that he had the tools. You just said that those group of players shouldn't have been...
they shouldn't.
Better than the Championship.
So what's your point then?
They shouldn't.
So the manager, someone, somewhere, allowed those players to think they had a choice.
It's a collective responsibility.
These players, like you talked about the players that came on a training ground when you were there when Roy Evans was the manager, they believe they'd come on a training ground with a bacon sandwich, right? Well, who gave them that choice then, right? So these players believe that they can perform in a certain way. And who was responsible for 85% of the season? Old ivory smuggler.
I don't know.
Brendan Rodgers.
Oh, he's buried yourself, Sam, as well.
I spoke to Brendan this morning. We had a perfectly pleasant chat. God knows what we'll make of this. But I mean, to be honest, Simon, you look at it now. I mean, I know it was probably different then when you were at Palace and Andy Johnson, but you look at it now. In my view, there is no stopping them if they go down to the Championship. The top players are out of there.
Who though? Because
Agreed.
Simon, no, hold on.
But
They're
only on the
gone,
football club's
and you
terms.
cannot hold them back, Danny.
Well,
it begs the question: where's the loyalty on it? Which of the top guys there, Maddison, Tielemans, and the rest of them, are going to go down to the Championship and get them straight back up?
Tielemans won't because he's out of contract.
The thing is, Jim,
They're gonna go.
It is a very individual thing
It
because
is.
Tielemans out of contract. That's done.
Right.
Maddison is quite a unique one because very rarely do you get a player of his quality who's getting relegated. Very rare. Not many times as good as him. He's that good. So he's got to go because he will have so many takers.
For his own sake,
it would be
yes.
football suicide for him to stay, even with loyalty. You would have to be, if you were his brother, mother, father, whoever.
Harvey Barnes.
You'd have to be.
There's a really good
No,
player.
I
How does
think-
he fancy it in the Championship?
There's an argument to suggest you can make him stay.
Yeah,
Because
naturally. Does he
come out
fancy
their
it down
academy.
there?
He's come out of their academy and also he's
Dewsbury Hall come out of their academy. These players you can keep if you want
Yeah.
to. Madison, you probably would
Yeah.
say. Madison, would you say? Listen, okay, I get it. Even though you were part of the team that got relegated, and it's actually you that are complicit with all this. You can go, but you can go to Tottenham or wherever he wants to buy you, and you can go for 75 million quid.
This is the price.
There you go.
You're enjoying being in YouTube these days and Facebook, aren't you? His fingerprints were all over it. We all love that. 12:15.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.